are you? How's it going? Welcome to day 4 of the 10-day Master Your Metabolism Challenge. So we're at day 4, which is really good. So you should be getting your emails by now. If you're not getting your emails, you can sign up to the emails in the link above this. But day 4, and we're talking about foods that inhibit your metabolism. So let's talk about that for a bit. If you received your email today, you would have received a list of foods that inhibit your metabolism, that stop your metabolism from working. So I just want to run through those today, talk about what you can swap the foods out for, and then also I'm going to talk about something else that wasn't mentioned in the email today. And I think maybe I just forgot to put it in there, but I think it is important, so I do want to talk about it. So your metabolism is so intricately connected to your thyroid gland. Your thyroid helps to govern and run and give your metabolism the energy that it needs. And so your metabolism will help you feel energized through the day. It helps your skin, it helps your digestion. So by upregulating your metabolism, you'll get more energy through the day. Your body will feel nicely balance between hot and cold. You'll be able to cool yourself down easily, and you'll be able to heat yourself up easily. Your hair will be shiny, you won't have as much hair loss, your skin won't be as dry, your nails will dry nicely, they won't have ridges on them, and you'll sleep well. And also signs and symptoms like constipation, sluggish bowel should go away. So your metabolism is so important, but it is connected to your thyroid. So if you have any thyroid issues, you really need to work on your metabolism as well, and because your thyroid and metabolism go hand in hand. So today I'm going to talk about foods which inhibit your metabolism, and these are particularly foods which cause inflammation. Any inflammation in your body will stop your metabolism. Any inflammation will affect your thyroid. The two main food groups that we're talking about, we've got gliadin, which is like the protein in your wheats, your gluten, that's the protein as well. It's a sticky protein in wheat products like couscous, pasta, bread. And so if you've got a difficult metabolism, or you've got a slow metabolism, or you've got autoimmune thyroid problems, particularly Hashimoto's, and when you've got Hashimoto's, your metabolism really does struggle, so it really pays to pay attention to that. But gliadin in particular causes inflammation in the thyroid and causes the thyroid, it mimics thyroid tissue, and what your body essentially does, your immune system, it then goes and targets thyroid tissue and actually starts to destroy thyroid tissue, a little bit like autoimmune tissue diseases, like rheumatoid arthritis, where your immune system will go and target joints. With these autoimmune thyroid conditions like Hashimoto's, your immune system targets your thyroid tissue. And so by removing gluten and gliadin, and also casein found in dairy, it helps your metabolism because it's helping your thyroid, it's stabilizing your thyroid out. So it's really important, if you've got super duper metabolism issues, or you've got any autoimmune thyroid condition like Hashimoto's, Graves', you really need to look at taking those dairy products out, and also taking the gliadin and the gluten. Gliadin's actually in oats as well, so even if you're gluten free, you do need to be careful of oats. It's that like sticky protein, and the body does sometimes have difficulty digesting that protein, and you might notice how sometimes oats make you bloated. So although oats are really nice and filling, and they do have some good starches in and some good nutrients, if you have a thyroid issue, or you get lots of bowel issues, or you've got a sluggish metabolism, I would just have a break from those and maybe choose something else like a green smoothie, a chia pudding, or go savoury, because that helps your metabolism, go with the eggs and bacon, those kind of things. So just be aware of that, and just be aware of those foods, because if you're on day 4 now, so if you're trying to upregulate your metabolism, you'll really be wanting to do everything you can. So you've done the cold therapy, the apple cider vinegar in water, adding in foods that boost your metabolism, getting your macronutrients nice. So what you want to look at now is actually swapping out those foods. So swapping out for dairy, coconut products, coconut cream, the IAMS, coconut milk, coconut cream, coconut flakes. You can blend them up and make a nice coconut milk instead of having milk. You can use nut milks, you can use cashews is a really great one, and all you need to do is soak the cashews for 20 minutes. drain them, and then blend them up. 1 cup of cashews to 3 cups of water. You can put in a pinch of vanilla, you can put in a pinch of salt, maybe a tiny bit of coconut oil in there if you want, a teaspoon of coconut oil. Blend it until it's super smooth, and you've got yourself a really beautiful whole food nut milk there. And the cashew milk goes the creamiest. I love cashew nut milk, and the beauty about cashew nut milk is if you blend it enough, you don't have to strain it. So with the other milks, you know, the almond or the Brazil, you have to actually strain it, so you've got that extra bit of work. But with cashews, it's so simple, and it tastes really beautiful, especially if you put like a little bit of coconut oil in, or if it's for the kids, you could put like a tiny bit of honey in just to give it a little bit of flavor. But you can use cinnamon, you can use cardamom, you can use vanilla, star anise to actually flavor the cashew nut milk. So that's one swap out. You can look at using the coconut yogurt, coconut kefir. Those are wonderful. In baking, you can look at using avocado as well to add creaminess. In smoothies, you can look at adding your nut milks or your coconut or your avocados. So those are wonderful swap outs. Swap outs for gliadin and gluten products are really simple. And if you're baking, it can be more difficult. But, you know, you can swap out for quinoa, buckwheat. You can use coconut flours. You can use nut flours if you're baking. You can use a little bit of tapioca if you're baking, just to help to give it that stickiness that gluten would. So you might have to play around with the different flours, but you can try out different websites, cooking websites, you know, like Alex Stewart, Brenda Yanchik, Quirky Cooking, where they have a lot of gluten-free things in terms of baking, especially if you're baking for your family. So that will help you out there. Wild rice is another one. I love using wild rice instead of using things like couscous. Love using legumes as well, having that instead of pasta. So if you're having mince, you could have mince with lentils instead of pasta, or even go one better and you could use zoodles, you know, like zucchini noodles with your mince. So it's about just getting creative and swapping out. But I would encourage you, if you do have a metabolism issue or you've got a thyroid issue, I would really encourage you to just start having a look at what you're eating daily. Look at the food that contains dairy, look at the food that contains gliadin and gluten, and just start making small swaps through the day. So stock up on your quinoa, on your buckwheat, stock up on your nuts, on your nut milk. The best one in the supermarket in terms of nut milk is the Nutty Bruce almond milk. You can get that in Woolers and Coles here in Australia. So you get a nut milk. If you're going to buy a nut milk from the shops, get one that doesn't have any gums added, get one that doesn't have lots of sugar added, get one that is, you know, more than 10% nuts, because a lot of them are like 2%. So you want to go 10% nuts or more. Of course, if you make it yourself, if you've got that ratio of 1 cup of cashews to 3 cups of water, that's you know, over 20% nuts there. So that's really healthy for you because you've got more going on. In Australia, I prefer using Honest to Goodness and IAM's tinned coconut cream or coconut milk. Reason being is there's no gums added. It's pure form of coconut products. If you buy the carton coconut milks like Quench, those kind of things, then you're going to be left with the sugars that it's got in, the gums, the preservatives. It's not really the best option. So I would definitely have a look at the ingredients and go for the purest form. And again, you can make your own coconut milk. Get some coconut shreds, soak them, blend them with water, and then add in what you need to add in. Secondly, I would stay away from rice milk just because it doesn't really have much going on for it. So I'd probably stay away from rice milk and use the nut milks that have a little bit more protein. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention about foods that actually inhibit your metabolism, again, are foods that inhibit the thyroid, and those are foods with goitrogens. So goitrogens are agents in foods. They're found in foods, they're found in some grains, they're found in broccoli, they're found in soy. And what they essentially do is they can inhibit your thyroid from taking up iodine, and that can cause a goiter. So you do need to be careful. Now, I'm not saying don't have brassicas, don't have broccoli and don't have cabbage. What you need to do is, if you do have a sluggish metabolism, you're very fatigued and you find it hard to lose weight, or you've got any thyroid issues, make sure you cook your brassicas really well. Your broccoli, your cabbage, your spinach, those kind of foods, cook them really well. And don't have raw smoothers every single day with things like kale in. So just be aware of that and be really careful and just be diligent, because that could be stopping you from getting that metabolism to 100%. I know with me, when I was eating a lot of al dente broccoli, we used to, years ago, when my thyroid was a little bit sluggish, years ago, I used to cook a whole bowl of broccoli up and I just lightly steam it. And then I would just saute it in a little bit of butter and garlic. My partner and I, we'd have half each, like as our vegetable dish. We were probably doing that every night because I was just loving broccoli. But I noticed that when I woke up in the morning, I had my puffy face and I was really, really fatigued. And just what was going on was I was just having too much broccoli. The goitrogens were blocking my iodine and it was making me super fatigued. So be very careful. Other signs of your iodine being blocked and low iodine can be breast lumps and also thyroid nodules. So be careful there. One of the other biggest foods that a lot of people eat that has goitrogens in that actually block your thyroid, block the iodine and inhibit your metabolism is soy. So soy is a big one. So you can have a little bit of tempeh here and there. If you go out to the Thai restaurant, you can have a little bit of soy. You can have some soy sauce with your sushi. You can do that, but don't be drinking soy milk every single day. Drinking soy milk every single day will impact your metabolism. So it's really important to bear that in mind. If you're sitting there right now and you're having issues with your metabolism, cold hands and feet, find it hard to lose weight, estrogen dominant symptoms as well often comes with a sluggish metabolism, hair loss, dry skin, depression, fatigue, weight gain, and you're drinking a large soy latte every day, you need to reassess that and use a different milk. Use the nut milk or use some coconut milk or just change it up a little bit, have a smaller coffee. So I really did want to just touch on that because I had actually forgotten to talk about the goitrogens and their effect on metabolism, and that you don't need to get militant about not having brassicas, but just be sensible about cooking your brassicas if you've got a thyroid problem or a sluggish metabolism, and definitely cut the soy out. So that's it for today. We're just talking about the foods to swap out. We've talked about swapping dairy foods out for your nut milks, your coconut milks, coconut kefir, coconut yogurt, those kind of things. A little bit is fine. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of soft cheese a couple of times a week, or a little bit of hard cheese, a little bit of milk every so often, but just not going OTT. And if you have an autoimmune thyroid issue, just be super careful. Talked about swapping the gluten and gliadin out for your buckwheat, your quinoa, your basmati rice, your polenta, instead of having your couscous, your pasta and your bread, and not relying on those foods every single day. Yes, maybe having some bread in your freezer for when there's nothing else to eat and you want avocado on toast because that's all you've got, because nobody's perfect. We always need standby and we always need a contingency, and that's okay. But just don't rely on that food every single day for your health and your metabolism. So that's all. Hi Jules, thanks for the comment. So I keep gluten-free bread in my freezer, and I also have a normal loaf, because sometimes my health food store doesn't have my bread, or sometimes I just don't want to spend the money it costs to buy the bread. I just don't feel like spending that money that day, so I'll just go into my freezer and I'll get my sourdough, avocado, but I wouldn't have that every single day. Hi Kelly, how's it going? Hope you're well. Yeah, I just wouldn't have that every single day. So I hope that's helped you. So we've just talked about swapping out dairy, we talked about swapping out gluten and gliadin, and also just a little reminder about the goitrogens. So they're ingredients in specific foods, they're food chemicals, they're good for you, they're good food chemicals. This is the thing, they're healthy in small amounts. It's at high amounts they're not so healthy. And what they do is block iodine. And if you do think that we're actually talking about this, I think tomorrow, or did we talk about it yesterday? Tomorrow, if you do think you have low iodine, you have thyroid nodules, or you get breast lumps and nodules, poor immune system, you may want to look at either supplementing with iodine or maybe adding some seaweed and dulse flakes to your diet just to get your iodine up a little bit. But actually, we'll be talking about that either tomorrow or the next day. So if you've got any questions about iodine and your relationship to your metabolism, to your thyroid, you can ask me some questions. So I hope you all enjoyed that today. I hope it was useful information. Thanks, Jules. Thanks so much, Kelly. And I'll be on tomorrow, so I'll talk to you then. Bye.